welcome back to Coffee and Chaos. I'm Alina, your host, and today we will be reporting from the news station of Los Angeles Dodgers. Tony!
Hi.
What's up?
None. Just here.
Okay, so we're going to get into the Dodgers, but we got to get into this other story first. So we're going to do current events, which we felt were our current events, not necessarily the world's current events.
This one was mainly her.
I thought it was hilarious. Tony thought I was weird. Solomon laughed his ass off. So
wait, did I? Let me see. Let me check and see if my ass is still there.
You left it at home.
Yeah, I don't think I left it off. It wasn't that funny.
Actually, it's not even funny. So we shouldn't even be laughing.
Okay.
But
I am. I'm not going to lie. I'm laughing at it.
So as I was scrolling down a certain social media, and I can't say who because I'll get yelled at because I'm always on it and I get yelled at by certain family members. In New York, I believe it was.
Yes.
There's a man and a woman who they now actually have animal rescue because of these two animals that they first started with. They had and I'm afraid of rodents, but they had a squirrel and they have a raccoon, which obviously are not your everyday normal pets. So I would hope that they were, I don't know, can you get them like their shots and their vaccines or whatever the hell they're called?
Hold on, let me make a phone call and find out. I have a squirrel
do you go to a vet and say my raccoon? Yeah, because people have raccoons as vets. I mean, as pets, right?
I don't know if it's legal to have them as pets, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, so the squirrel has its own social media, like has its own Instagram.
Well, people do that now. Like they do, like they have their pets like social media page.
Yeah. So
a couple.
But like animals that aren't supposed to be.
No, like dogs.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like yeah. So this is a squirrel and a raccoon, and apparently some lady in Texas who didn't like it or has a boring life or is miserable. I don't know. Lord help this woman, please help her soul. Reported it. I'm gonna say it was a Karen. Reported, and maybe other people reported too. So not only like they didn't come and knock on the door and say, "Hey, can we have these animals? Like we got to check them for rabies." They like raided their house. Like again, was it the CIA? Was it the feds? Was it the police? Was it the animal control? Like who was it? Like you want to play the clip? It's not funny, but the situation's funny, but the ending is very sad.
Oh. All right, let's pass this. Let this fire truck pass real quick.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal. After they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house.
You need to check the status of her eyelashes.
Every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon.
Like, I understand him. Like, I feel.
How do you feel for a raccoon and
I don't feel for that. Like, yes, it's and I'm a phobia of rodents, so I'm like, ugh. But it's still their pet. It's their family member. Like, I'm attached to my dogs as much as I want to choke them out every day.
Dog, of course,
but
or a cat.
Well, did you see their Instagram though? They're attached to these animals. Like, they're all over them. Like,
that's just weird.
No, it is. But there has to be something more. How do you just show up with 12 agents to raid a house over a squirrel and a raccoon? It's not Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not like we're coming to take freaking
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I guess first of all, I know we should feel sort of, some way about them, but I couldn't help watch this and think, okay, this has got to be a skit.
I thought it was. He's genuinely upset.
He's crying, and they're going, 12 agents. I couldn't feed my horses, and I'm like, oh my God, this just seems too.
But what if it's like this is how scary it is? What if it's like I'm waiting for a backstory to come out that his wife was really here illegally, or because she said the immigration status,
right,
or something. They're like selling drugs or something. You literally went to their house. You sent 12 agents to their house. All that money you spent, 5 hours on a squirrel and a raccoon. You ain't got nothing better to do?
or their tax-paying money.
Maybe they heard they were Dodger fans.
Hey, whoa.
They're like, we're gonna make an example.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dodger fans, we might as well get into it then.
In other news.
We're gonna go to our sports anchor guy.
Oh man. Well,
How excited were you?
oh my gosh, I was so excited. I was at work, and I was at your terminal actually that night,
Woo-woo.
and we were on standby, and I was actually thankful that we were on standby, and I had it mounted on my UTR, and I was just sitting there just watching it, and I saw the 3 outs. I was like, yeah, I started pulling the horn, like all honking.
Was everybody there though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it was everybody was honking their horns and whatnot, and it was cool, like just to see it. Like, I mean, granted, to me, I look at it every championship.
Do you think it meant something because the Yankee guy made it very clear that when we won in 2020, it wasn't shit. Like
Everybody has an opinion of that, and unfortunately, that year during the COVID year, the Lakers and both the Dodgers won the championship, and they're all saying it's an asterisk. But
Yeah.
I mean, a win's a win, like they say, and yeah, it was great. Side note, I did hear that Aaron Judge is going to be at Times Square on New Year's. He's going to be dropping the ball. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Like
So
My
bad.
girlfriend, she's a Yankee fan, so there was a lot of
Seth is a Yankees fan.
There was
We
a lot
had
of
a bet.
trash.
He lost.
yeah, there was a lot of trash talking, more or less her, and I was like, okay, all right, keep talking. Like
The
just-
one thing
she
I
cannot
want to say,
stand him. She cannot
really,
yeah.
why?
Well, she
First
has her
of all-
opinion of him, and then most importantly, what we're gonna get into later on in about the Dodgers is the whole how they got there.
Oh yeah. So okay. So the one thing I have to say, because we're gonna get into the Fernando thing, but the one thing I'm gonna get into real quick, because I know you two men don't want to hear this, but holy mother of smoke. So there's a picture on the Dodgers. And for all you non-Latinas, it's not band, it is Banda.
right.
Banda. Banda. He is Latino. And let me tell you, I was annoyed with this. And so I was speaking to my child. And I was like, these girls and da da da. And he goes, well, in all fairness, Mom, you didn't even realize who he was until October.
Right. A lot of people
I was
didn't.
like, no. I didn't realize who he was until they showed the picture with his shirt off
right.
out back in the locker room. This guy is tatted up. But then I got turned
His
off.
whole chest is his
Yes.
whole-
When I found out he's 31 years old. He is younger than my daughter. I was like, oh, I'm going to hell. I am going to hell. I need to stop looking. But he is there's TikToks of husbands telling him like, yes. Hola.
yeah.
He is, and he was on 11 teams, the Yankees being one of them.
Yeah.
Before he came to us.
And he was traded to the Dodgers for
Money.
for money, and they
Mhm.
brought him in, and he pitched fairly well for the Dodgers in the World Series.
Fairly well, because we won.
Well, yeah, it was a team effort.
And Max Muncy is still my guy. I don't care that he's over like 50,000. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He got us there. I still
And
love
Shohei Ohtani too. He didn't play that well as well. I mean, nor did Aaron Judge as well. Everybody was looking forward to that big Goliath like matchup, and neither one of them played that well.
But you know what? The littler guys got to come up and show it what it is.
Well,
and,
yeah,
like,
and I'm very proud of the way
Freeman.
did, and the way Dave Roberts managed the whole pitching aspect, and they
They were
played-
scared of Freddie Freeman, boy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But they kept pitching to him. Like that didn't make sense to me. Like at some point,
and that's what I tell everybody. Like the postseason's different than the regular season. Like and every series is different for everybody. It's a trip on like how just baseball is, or just baseball, softball, anything like that. Where if there's a long series, every player is gonna have to adapt.
did you see where Freddie Freeman, after he hit that grand slam, ran to his dad and just
Oh,
went
yeah.
berserk? And then like everything starts coming out about like their story and how well, right?
Right.
And when I listened to it, I thought it's amazing, that story, but it goes to show you that men that are not, I'm going to say particular in my case, not in their children's lives, it's a choice because you make sacrifices.
Right.
Do you live for yourself or do you live for your children? And
It's
Freddie
always got to be for the
Freeman's
kids.
dad lived for his child, and his son knew it, acknowledged it, and that was just such a beautiful story.
Oh no, absolutely.
And now Freddie Freeman's going through what he's going through with his child
son,
who's
yeah.
sick. Yeah. And of course, pray for him. You know, you hope that he gets better and he's healed and everything like that. But I had to talk about Banda because he was so. And then,
Speaking of Hispanic, talking about Fernando, and Fernando Valenzuela passing away as well.
Oh.
That was crazy. Like I mean, I don't know, watching and seeing like different video clips and just seeing highlights of him past, present. I mean, the past and present. He looked fairly sick. Like he lost a lot of
he
weight,
did.
and it was kind of like, oh man, like is he really sick? And then obviously ended up being in.
Do you think it's a coincidence that he passed when this happened, or do you think that's fate?
I think it's fate. Like
Yeah.
he was. Oh my god, I just remember him as a kid. Like he was.
So I
awesome
wasn't
to
a Dodgers
watch.
fan, and I wasn't into baseball. But my grandpa from Mexico, when he would come here and he'd be here during baseball season,
Mhm.
and we'd go see him. I don't care if I was on the toilet, if I was taking a nap, if I was outside playing. Like, you come and sit here from the minute he stands on the mound until the minute he gets off, because that's us. He stands for us. And I didn't understand that. I was a little girl. And first of all, it's baseball. Who cares, right? And honestly, you're some big, ugly Mexican. That's what I would think in my head. Like, I didn't care, right?
Yeah.
As I got older, the significance of all that is so dear to my heart. I'm a diehard Dodger. I loved him. My brother loved him. You know,
Right.
so his passing, and so for us, we don't believe, oh, it's a coincidence. We believe he passed, and once he
It's
passed, I
just
was like, we're
unfortunate he
winning.
wasn't able to watch them
Oh, he
play.
did.
Like
He
he
did.
did. No, totally. Like
Yeah.
just like Vince Scully. You know what I mean? Watching down.
Yeah.
And I think this was for him. Like you know
It
what I mean?
definitely was.
And it was cool that they had the parade on his actual birthday.
That's his family had to be so grateful. You
Oh,
know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
it was just, everything was just awesome. So I had heard, I don't know if this is true or not, so don't come at me, that they would call Fernando Valenzuela in the dugout. His Caucasian friends, I guess, whatever, players would call him Freddie.
Really?
And then Freddie hit the grand slam.
Ah.
So I was like, that is so cool. Like, so that is huge. But you know why they brought him here, Fernando Valenzuela?
Okay, why do you think?
What was told to us as kids.
Okay.
Now, if this is just how the Latinos, Mexicans,
When you say
Hispanics,
brought him here from
Mexico,
oh, okay.
To play for the Dodgers.
to play for the Dodgers. So, is it a myth? Is it a storyteller? Is it storytelling? Is it true? I mean, we don't really realistically know, right? The whole Chavez Ravine thing, which we'll get into right now.
Chavez.
I am sick. Leave me alone. I'm trying to be better.
Like the guy with the squirrel.
And excuse my cough as well.
Yeah, we're like, you know, I got some medicine.
Thank God I got my flu shot.
So they basically booted out the Mexicans, and we'll get into that. So we're not going to bypass it for a second. So they went to go look for a pitcher, specifically a Mexican pitcher, to bring back to play for the Dodgers.
Right.
But they didn't have anybody in mind. They found a shortstop. So they went to go look at the shortstop. Well, guess who came on the mound and blew it away? Fernando. They didn't even sign the poor shortstop.
They took him.
And so they brought him. And the reason they brought him from Mexico here was because of our Chavez Ravine. Do you want to get into it, or do you want me to get into
You
it?
go ahead. You're a good storyteller.
So, now it's a storytelling.
Yeah.
They wanted to basically kick everybody out under what is it called?
Eminent domain.
There you go, that thing. And they were like, no, we're not leaving. We're staying here. This is our, where we all live. It was like Solomon said.
Where Chavez Ravine is currently right now.
It's where all the Latinos, again, Mexicans, whatever you want to call them, we're all living. And they were trying to kick them out. They were actually trying to kick them out supposedly for a housing project called Ellison Park Heights. That was what they were telling them, what they're like, get out of here. We'll pay you. But they're underpaying them. Get out. We're going to underpay you. We're going to take it from you. We're going to build these new projects, basically, and then you could come back and live into them, which they knew wasn't going to happen. They end up, like in May of 1959, dragging them out.
Right.
Bulldozing everything. Like, it was really, really sad. The housing project supposedly fell through. And then,
That's crazy.
Next thing you know, just a few months later, like so that was in May of 1959 that they all got drugged out. And then September 11th, 1959, conveniently, the Dodgers started building Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So all the people that lived around it are still Hispanics, Latinos, Mexicans. Were not cheering for the Dodgers.
Right.
Hated the Dodgers. Some of them that are still alive to this day cannot stand the Dodgers, and rightfully so, right? when they brought Fernando over, it changed a lot of people's opinions. Now, I know through the course of the years, I think some of those people were paid money, their families, stuff like that, were paid some money back and stuff like that. But over the course of the year, we've kind of, which is sad, forgotten about it, moved on. Magic Johnson now owns the team, stuff like that. So
Right.
we're diehard Dodger fans. Sorry.
Oh, I am.
I am
Of
since
course.
Fernando. Like, it's just,
Yeah, it's like this year was the first year I felt confident, and like obviously I went out and bought like the postseason Dodger hat. I even just bought my oh, it's over here. I'm sorry, my World Series championship.
when he
hat.
died, I knew we were gonna win.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a sign. We're taking this home.
Well, wait, I found this picture. It's a little bit late, but I want to put it up anyway, just so Tony can
Of the
see it.
squirrel.
No, but this is
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
That's
iconic,
the last lady. She refused to leave. And she lived outside of there after they bulldozed it in a tent for like a week. She would not leave. She was like, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
And that just goes to show you at the end of the day,
There is a
government-
documentary on it, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
very sad.
yeah.
I gotta watch it.
It's been the subject of
unfortunately, I
tons of
haven't had the
movies,
chance to
Yeah.
fictional,
watch it.
non-fictional. Yeah,
That's why at the end of the day, we don't own anything. They'll come take whatever they want. They kicked out all the indigenous and murdered, raped.
Well, it's just
killed,
probably like the
killed.
freeways too, as well. When they're trying to expand the freeways and they
Yeah.
have to.
At the end of the day,
Yeah,
they're going to get
make
what they
people
want,
move.
and they did. But I will say this: back then, as a woman, sticking to her truth and saying like, "No, I'm not," and letting them physically drag you out, like my hats are off to her. Like that takes a lot of
Oh,
courage.
absolutely.
That is really, really courageous.
yeah.
So let's go into the Ice Cube part
Oh.
because we were laughing.
Okay, I thought with Ice Cube coming out center field, taking his gangster walk, rapping to 2 songs, had the crowd going. Crowd was freaking just like they were embracing. They freaking.
I was going to say that's one thing I will say about the Dodgers now. They embrace our culture now.
Yeah.
Everything. Dia de los Muertos, everything, the lowrider cars, Ice Cube coming out. They've really embraced our culture now.
And he came out singing his 2 songs, Bow Down.
But he
especially that
was
one.
making fun of the Yankees.
Right, did you catch that?
And the
I caught it
Yankee
right away.
players were singing to
Well,
it.
you know who was the one that was dancing to it, right?
Was the Dodger, ex-Dodger guy.
Alex Verdugo. And
the
he,
guy who talks a lot.
yeah, he was talking crap and then caught him
Yeah.
singing. And Jazz Chisholm was standing next to him. He was standing next to him. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
How can you
God,
not
that
dance
jab.
to Ice Cube, though?
I know. I mean, it like I said, he just the songs that he came out, you had everybody just rapping to it and singing
Yeah.
to it. And that was at the parade. That was great. That's when he got Dave Roberts out. I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen that.
yes, I did.
Yeah,
I
he
did.
was dropping it like it was hot. I was dying when I seen that. But yeah, it was great. And then that's when they brought out Fat Joe and
Well, I said they're going to bring out somebody, but who could they bring out? Because everybody's all wrapped up in the P. Diddy scandal, right?
right. They brought him out. Well, I get
But
it.
it wasn't
he's
even
iconic.
rehearsed.
But he's iconic.
But he's also older.
Yeah, he's more or less Slim Joe.
What did Kiki say? Kiki said that he's not fat
Yeah,
anymore.
he's no longer fat, and his name is Joe.
Yeah,
He didn't have really the crowd going. I mean,
No.
granted, he's iconic in New
New
York.
York.
Yeah, I agree with that. They on that part they pulled the right guy, but his performance
Because that's what we
was not
said.
great.
Who else could they have pulled?
I said 50.
That's probably the only guy that they could have pulled, that they should have pulled. That would have been epic.
Yeah,
That would have
that's
been.
where I think they messed up, but
But
they already knew. They already
50 probably told him, nah, I can't touch Ice Cube.
yeah.
I'm not doing that. He's like, nope.
But
I do have a
they get an
question.
A for effort.
When Kike was with Dave Roberts and Ice Cube at the party, at Dodger Stadium,
Yeah.
he said, everybody was like cheering him on to say the word. He's like, I'm going to say it. It starts with my last name. What word did he say? Do you know? It starts
No
with an
idea.
H.
I have no idea.
Nobody could. He said it, but it was so loud you couldn't hear what he said, and
I'd have to go
nobody
back and
knew what he
watch it.
said. No, you could go back. You can't hear it, and he says it, and on the players go crazy, but you can't hear what he said because it was so loud.
You have to freaking
Wait, what's the clue?
He said it starts with my last name, which is H, and I was like,
Fernandez is his last name.
what starts with H?
All
Yeah, I don't know.
right. Well, what do they usually say? They'll say things like,
in Spanish.
We'll do it again. One more time.
Nothing starts with an
H, yeah.
H.
Or either hermano or something.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I don't. So, but they were all all of them. And then all of a sudden, Otani speaks English.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, I saw a meme on that, and it was Chris Tucker talking to Jackie Chan. Asking him, he doesn't know how to speak English. I started laughing.
You know, you can literally like just not know what you're saying and just know the syllables. you
Really?
know? Yeah.
Like almost like someone said, just keep saying this, and he kept rehearsing it and rehearsing it
Right.
and rehearsing
Yeah.
it,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't have him ask him something off script.
Yeah.
And, he'll be like, what?
Yeah. I do love how they all supported each other, even when like Muncy went 0 for 17, but he played great third base, right? Great defense. His team still supported him. Like Freddie, up until the end, was playing every other game, right?
Right.
And as a whole team, I think they just banded together.
Well, yeah, the team chemistry this year was just unbelievable. Like,
And I hope they don't change it.
well, that's where money comes in. They have a lot of.
They're going to change it.
They-
You know what they're going to do?
What are they?
They're going to
do,
bring in
Steve?
Juan Soto.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
they
Can you imagine?
They can, but
though?
I'm
the
all,
only person they would replace would be what's his name, Teo, and I love Teo.
No, they can't replace
He's a free
him.
agent, so he.
Oh, you better come up with some money, homeboy.
They have a lot of players. Bueller.
Every time I hear Bueller,
Teo.
I think of
Ferris Bueller's Day.
Bueller.
You and half of America.
Anyone?
That's all I think about.
Yeah, they have Kike. They need to bring back Joe Kelly.
Oh,
picked.
yeah.
I just read last night. They're bringing back Miggy, Miguel Rojas,
Mhm.
and Austin Barnes, which one of my best friends, Bobby, he's not a fan of. He's just like, he can't hit the ball. Then get rid of him. And so when they signed him back, I sent him the picture. Guess who's back? He's like, oh man.
You're gonna see some posts, like if they get rid of somebody I like if they get rid of Muncy, I'm probably not gonna talk to the Dodgers for like a
No.
week till I get over it.
They're not gonna-
And then I'll get over it and I'll be like,
No,
okay.
They're gonna keep him.
So it was definitely well deserved. Long time coming.
Oh, absolutely.
They
They played against a terrific team. Hats
did.
off to the Yankees. I told my girlfriend I can't talk crap about the
I can
Yankees.
talk crap about the Yankees. The guys that grabbed Mookie
Mookie,
Betts
yeah.
in right field, like I get it, right? You
They
try
should
to
be arrested.
Well, this is my thing. You
Well,
could
yeah, for putting their
interfere.
hands on.
Oh, yeah.
Mookie.
You could have pulled his wrist out.
Yeah,
You
what if
could
they
have
had
pulled
broken his wrist?
You
Yeah.
could have pulled his shoulder out of socket. Like that's what. Like all fun and games. I don't care if they would have smacked the ball out and it was a double. Right? It is what it is. Like, but the fact that you physically tried to hurt him and then your goofy asses, because yes, you are goofy as hell.
Yeah, my
With your
girlfriend
whole-
thought she's like, oh, look, he looks Down syndrome. I started laughing. I know it's wrong, but damn, I was like, one of the still pictures. He's like,
Yeah, I
They
was
just-
like, that was totally. But I loved after the game when the reporters kept trying to go after Betts about it. He was like, "It's done. Like, leave it
Yeah.
alone." Like, he didn't even like.
you know what they did with the tickets, right?
Didn't they reimburse them?
They gave them their money back for it, but you know who they end up giving those tickets away. They end up giving it to a kid that was part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. MLB and the Yankees stepped in and they gave those tickets to that kid, and because I guess he was supposed to be at the game, a different Yankee game at
Yeah.
one time, but he got sick.
So wait, did the kid get their seats though?
Yeah, he got their seats.
So did they show camera with those
Yeah.
kids in those?
Yeah.
seats?
I don't
Yeah.
think they should. Why were they reimbursed tickets? They
I
shouldn't.
don't know.
You got banned. You're done. Like you don't
Yeah,
know.
they
how
didn't
to
get
play.
banned.
That's what I'm saying. You should have.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be able to come
Well,
back.
they were gonna let him come back for Game 5, and I think the MLB stepped in and went, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. That's just ridiculous.
Because they blatantly came out and said if it happens again, they'll do it. That they had talked about that beforehand.
But now you've left it open for any fans on any team because nothing's really going to happen to you, right?
Yeah, but
It's-
even though, I mean, if you listen to anybody in the New York fan scene, everybody looks down on that event, on that incident. You know,
Good.
all of the major podcasts and everything that cover the Yankees are like,
Good.
that's deplorable behavior.
Because baseball is a very clean, Americanized, all-American boy sport. You know,
Oh, absolutely. I
they're
think that's
very
one of them.
strict.
Between that and soccer, I think those two sports really bring people together
Yeah, I didn't know that.
from all over.
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't know
Yeah.
on the Yankees, if you play for the Yankees, you sign a contract, no facial hair other than a mustache.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You can't have a beard, a goatee.
Yeah, well, I forgot who it was.
nothing.
I was like, damn, check
And I
out that
like that.
stash. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I was like straight chips.
You could only have a mustache. You can't have like anything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of wish all the teams did that so we knew what they really looked like without
Like, did
their
you see
beard and their goatee.
They're pictured Weaver for the Yankees.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, the guy looks like he's like 12.
Really?
Oh yeah, like he's just bones. Like he like
the only picture I was looking at was Banda. Sorry, I'm over it. Okay. So the next thing we're going to just slightly talk about, because we are not a political podcast at all whatsoever. But by the time you guys watch this, we will have a
new president. Yeah.
And I think
Maybe.
Well, she's not president. She's vice president.
No, I'm saying maybe because, maybe all the votes won't be counted, mail-in ballots, that type of thing.
Well, yeah.
That's
My
just
only
That's what he did
yeah.
last time when he lost. When we talk about Trump, I already know he's gonna ask for a recount.
The only thing is vote. If you want to be able to have
An opinion.
vote. Most importantly, like after the Dodger game, those idiots that burned down a bus in your own town. That's so dumb.
I think that's retarded, and I
It's
hate saying
so-
that word, but yeah, okay, we won a championship. Let's go tear up our house,
Our own city.
our own
Yeah.
city. I mean, Philly did it. A lot of fans.
I don't
do it.
understand that.
I don't
It's
understand either.
And they get whatever punishment they deserve. Like that's coming to them. You deserve it.
Well, I don't know. Did you hear real quick before?
Oh, go ahead.
Did you hear about that? The guy that was tagging
and
he
he fell.
3 stories.
And nobody did anything for a little
Well,
bit, right?
No, the footage was he was on the floor.
Yeah.
And it showed a guy who was going through his wallet, but he was trying to find his identification. People thought he was trying to
Yeah.
rob him. He's like, no, I'm trying to.
But
figure out
there
who
was
this guy
cops
is.
all around him and nobody was doing anything.
Yeah, because it was so chaotic and people
Yeah.
were trying to get EMT, and it just showed him just like bleeding.
Oh, it was bad. I
Oh.
saw
Oh,
him
yeah,
on
it
the
was
ground. It was
really
really
bad.
sad.
And then the guy that freaking blew his hand away with the firework. What a
Oh,
dummy.
I didn't hear about that. What happened?
Yeah, he was right in the middle of the street, lit a firework. He was holding it, went off. He blew off his hand. And he's like
Ay,
running on the
pendejo.
corner. He's just like, oh.
What, he thought it was a flare or a Roman candle?
Yeah,
what is-
I don't know. It's just,
thought it was a flashlight?
it's just
or-
dumb. Like people are just, they're just,
Wow.
I'm sorry to say, they're just
And
stupid.
that's my point is
Why do
on
that?
Tuesday, for the love of God, don't act dumb. Like it's going to be what it's going to be. For me personally, I only have one king anyways. It comes back to my faith and my religion, and I follow Christ, and who I always have faith in, he'll guide me. So whoever wins, I'm going to survive. I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to go blow up a city or blow up a bus and in protest.
I have my torch.
Can I add one more thing
Yeah.
on the vote? So, like us in California, we always say, people say, well, what's the point of voting? It's a Democratic state. The Democratic person's going to win. But keep in mind, regardless of what the commercials say about the president changing this or doing this to impact your life, there are so many levels of government and in between you and the president. It doesn't work that way. They're saying the things they need to say to get elected, but the reality is change starts in your local government. So when you vote, you're voting also for your local government for things that really do impact the city you live in, where you live, the schools you go to,
Mhm.
what kind
Right.
of funding they get. So make sure you go out and vote. Don't just think, oh, well, my state votes this, and so, there's no point in me doing it, because those guys aren't going to change your life anyway.
Yes.
It's the local government.
Like we're saying, the president is not going to significantly change your life. It's just not. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
But your local government will. So go out and vote for them.
Voting is important. That's what I said. If you want an opinion, go vote. I was looking at all the different measurements and all
That's
that
just like
stuff.
at work too.
Yeah, and I was looking at it all, and I was like, oh, and I was having to thoroughly read through all of it to see
Right.
who, some of the people that we're voting for in the districts and stuff like that. I was like, I've never heard of that person, so I'm
Who are
googling
they?
everything
Yeah.
I can, and But my main thing is when it's all said and done, we have to accept whoever it is, right?
I know. That's like when people would say, that's not my president. Yeah, it is.
Where do you
For the
live?
next 4 years.
Yeah. That's not, that's your president. No, we're.
Well, that's my famous
I-
thing is
it's
when
just
people are like,
funny.
"Oh, that's your president. You voted for." First of all, homie, how do you know who I voted for? Like, don't come at me whether I voted for this person or that person. That's nobody's opinion.
I'm going to vote for D's.
What I can't stand is how family members aren't talking to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Friends are no longer friends over.
Until the election's over. That's
And I'm
hey,
like,
how's it
no,
going?
there's some people that don't talk to each other still from the last
crazy.
election. And I'm like, then they weren't really your family member, your friend to begin with. If you seriously aren't talking to them, like
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's mainly within the last 8 to 10 years.
it's just.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I
Can we
don't know,
just bring JFK back from the
this
dead?
is just my opinion.
Let's bring Obama back.
This guy just brings so much hatred and so much division between people. I mean, because of what he says and what comes out of his mouth, and again, he has no filter. It's just that's one thing I will say, and whether people agree with it or not, it's just I just
So
feel
one
like this
thing I
guy
will
just
say
brings
to
so much
argue
hatred.
that, just since you brought that up, is if he just kept his mouth quiet, just be quiet, just don't talk.
But everything comes in
It's-
packages. Though.
Yes, yeah.
I just find it entertaining when he talks. Like it's just like, are you serious? What are you saying? Just stop. You quit repeating yourself.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Our next thing, are you ready?
Oh yeah.
It's so November 1st and November 2nd is a Mexican tradition culture that's gone on for like 3,000 years. Started with the Aztecs. And it's Dia de los Muertos,
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. I will say this, when I was younger, my mom and her side of the family didn't celebrate it or didn't look bad upon it or nothing. They just didn't celebrate it. My grandparents in Mexico, my grandma particularly, taught it to me, had me understand what it was, and always wanted me to come back at that time to see it. And I was so young when she passed. I was barely 20 something years old, and so I never got to make it back at that time, which is still on my bucket list till this. I'm going to get there one year.
Yeah.
So I will say this. Prior to last night, I don't know if I believed in it because of my grandma and just and please forgive me, I'm trying so hard not to cry. So I'm talking about my grandma in Mexico, my grandma Carmen.
The tissue's behind the curtain.
Okay. I loved her so much. I've always just believed in all her traditions, all her cultures. I've tried to keep everything that I could in my immediate family with my kids. And so then the movie Coco came out, right?
I love that movie.
So it's hard for me to explain to my children what I saw all those summers that I spent in Mexico.
Mhm.
So when the movie Coco came out, they were like, "Oh my gosh, Mom." And I was like, "That's my grandma Carmen. That's literally our whole lives, right?"
Right.
So now fast forward to my grandma Petra, my mom's mom, who lives with me. Everybody knows she has dementia. She's 92.
The fighter.
Oh, boy, let me tell you. So Dia de los Muertos is November 1st and 2nd. And what it is we built an ofrenda, which is flowers, the marigold flowers.
Right.
You put out food, you put out conchas, you put out candies, you put out anything that the people that have passed away that you want to remember that they liked. So those 2 days are in remembrance of your loved ones. So I know maybe 3,000 years ago, it was maybe a little bit more scary thinking they came back from the dead and you could see them or, but over the course of the years, like it's basically for me particularly, those are the 2 days you remember your loved ones that have passed away. We celebrate the great love that they gave us, everything that they shared with us while they were here on earth. We don't forget them. And for me, my grandparents in Mexico, I will never forget. And other people that have passed away in my life. So now we have an ofrenda. I have Halloween decorations and Dia de los Muertos all in my house. But yesterday, Jackie and I decided to make this huge ofrenda in my house. Well, my grandma woke up yesterday morning and didn't want to get out of bed. And so we don't know why. She just didn't want to get out of bed. We left her in bed all day. My mom was there. Marianne, our family friend, was there. My nephew was there. My daughters were there. We're eating. My grandma was in a great mood. She's talking, won't get out of bed. So at the end of the night, we put up the pictures. They were at Loran's house of Loran's grandpa that passed, my grandpa, and Jackie's grandparents. And I don't have pictures like handy of my grandparents, which I wish I would have put up there. So we put it up. So last night, I go in to change my grandma at like 10 o'clock at night, and she won't stop talking. She's just talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, "Oh, lady, go to bed." Because she's usually asleep by 8 o'clock.
Right.
So then I go back in at 3 o'clock in the morning and change her diaper. And she won't shut up. Like she's talking and talking and talking.
Now, is she talking to you?
Okay. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Go on.
She's just talking and she's reaching up in the sky. And she does that sometimes. So I'm like, "Follow the light. Follow the light.
You're horrible.
Hey, if Jesus comes to get her, who am I to say no?
You see that space right there on the shelf? That's for you. Oh my God.
So she was talking and talking and talking. Didn't think anything. I went back to bed. I wake up so I have a baby monitor, literally like right here. And I could hear, she never went to sleep. She didn't stop talking all night. So at 7:30 in the morning, I'm like, so I look in the baby monitor. And Marianne, our family friend who spent the night last night, what I thought was sitting next to my grandma in my grandma's room. And I'm like, you know what? That's not Marianne's job. That's not her responsibility. I feel bad. Let me go in there. So I go in she has a hospital bed.
Right.
So it's fully elevated. And then where my grandma's head up is even more elevated. So my grandma's like sitting up. So I'm like, Marianne, what are you doing? Like, why did you put grandma's bed up? Radio silence. But my grandma's still talking, reaching for the stars. So I go, Marianne. Marianne doesn't answer. I look on the other side of the bed. Nobody's there. But in the baby monitor, Marianne, or somebody that looked small like Marianne, was in the chair next to my grandma's bed. So I run into the living room. Marianne's dead asleep. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I lower the bed. I change her diaper. Now, mind you, when I changed her at 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and now 7:30, she's fighting me and yelling at me. And it was a struggle to change her. And this last time, she's like, nobody can see me like this. I was like, oh my God, nobody's in here but you and I. Go to bed. Like, stop it. She kept kicking the blankets off. She kept talking and talking. And so I'm not thinking because I'm tired, right?
Oh, yeah, because you worked last night.
So I worked last night till 3 o'clock in the morning. That's why I changed her. I'm gonna
You embarrassed her in front of her friends.
Okay, hold on. I don't know that yet. So, because I'm not thinking because I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
So I can't go to sleep after 7:30 and make my coffee. She's just talking. I went in at 9:30. I was like, fine, get up. You want to get up? Get up. Get her up. I take her to the bathroom, thoroughly clean her, right? She's in a good old mood. She hasn't slept, mind you, okay? So I get on the phone with Monique. Called my friend Monique. We're talking, and I tell her, she goes, well, Alina, they were all out last night. And I was all,
Who?
Who was out last night? Like, what are you talking about? She goes, Alina, everybody was visiting her.
Wow.
I started crying because I was like, oh my God, like, not that I didn't believe in Dia de los Muertos, but I definitely do now. Like,
right.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, girl, did they come visit you or did they come try to take you and you didn't go? like I got
You're bad, I swear.
Like, I got all emotional on the phone with Monique and she's like, they came to visit her. Well, what I didn't pay attention to, because I was tired and I was being a little selfish, you know, she's talking about her brothers. She kept asking for candy. She kept talking about like all these things that I didn't put together until I talked to Monique on the phone. And I was like, so then I looked at her and I was like, oh my God. And as I'm looking at her, she's taking things from her hand and she's handing them to me. And she keeps handing them and talking to me. And I'm like,
Which is nothing in her hand, obviously.
there's absolutely nothing in her hand. So I'm just watching her and feeding her breakfast, whatever. I put it in a long group text to everybody in my family, which I know they're like, okay, right?
Right.
Thank God Marianne was there for half the morning to be my witness. My aunt comes over to watch her so we could come film this. I'm in the bathroom doing my hair and I hear the word cemetery. So I said, what did she say? My aunt goes, oh, she was just asking about the cemetery. So I come out, I go, what? She goes, yeah, she asked me where the cemetery is, if we could go to the cemetery. I was like, okay, I don't care what anybody says. You can argue with me. I know I have Jesus in my heart, but she was getting visitors. And I don't know if she's ready to go or if it just happened to be that it's, you know, the last 2 days. And so I was like, yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, Grandpa, if you was here, I'm doing a good job. Like, I love her. Like, don't forget about me when you're in heaven. Talk to Jesus.
Wow.
And she
Put in a good word.
Yeah. But she kept talking about her brothers and this, and that. And she has, like, she's in such a good mood for someone who hasn't slept and hasn't stopped talking. So I do believe that they do come and visit you. And all the pictures are up and everything like that. So I'm dying to see when I get home if she's like snoring.
So in the middle of her grandstand in front of all her friends, you go change her diaper. She's like, no,
Yes.
don't do that.
So that's what I felt bad about because I thought about it and I was like, because when she was like, they can't see me like this, I was like, I was looking around, I was like, who's they? They ain't nobody in the room but you and I. Like, I wasn't thinking because I was tired. And now I was like, oh, I just humiliated you. I was like, I am so sorry. Because she fought me all 3 times.
That's
I was like,
crazy.
it was the craziest story ever. So I was just like, you know what? I do believe, obviously, in a higher power, right? I believe in Jesus and I do believe, I know where we're going
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that. But who am I to say that she didn't have visitors last night?
No, she definitely
Oh,
had
she
that.
did.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And I know that with dementia patients,
God,
like they start to talk to their loved ones and all that stuff, right? Which she's talked about her brothers before. She definitely has. But this time she was talking about them, talking about her family, she just didn't stop. So I was like,
Well, I'm glad
lady,
she had a good time.
she had a good time. I need to go home and sleep now.
Yeah. Well,
I was
good for
like,
her.
lady.
bunch of people like this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have it all underneath. It's all underneath
Shout
my
out to Rad
TV.
Coffee, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I love Rad Coffee now.
Yeah.
I have the whole thing underneath my TV, and she kept pointing to all of our stuff. So I was
Mhm.
like, so now my aunt's with her, and I'm like, I guarantee you my aunt's like, no, Mom, it's not true. No, Mom, it's not true.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, yeah. So that is my story of Dia de los
That's
Muertos.
crazy. Yeah, I
It is.
wasn't too familiar with it.
Your parents never talked about it?
No.
It's very it became
I didn't have
an
an understanding until I watched Coco.
I was gonna say it became an Americanized thing when the movie Coco came out, which, believe it or not, the lady that they went and based the whole movie on, Disney gave her absolutely no credit. Like they went, heard the story, took all the stuff, until the day she died, which was just a few years ago, they gave her no credit. So it's a big thing. A lot of Mexicans in Mexico are not
Now-
happy with it.
This is only because I've been out of town forever. Have they always been doing that in downtown Pedro?
No. So
It just started that.
yes, it's all
Okay.
commercialized now.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up and I would talk about it, it was like, that's like
Because I
not
don't
the
remember.
nice word for the Mexicans.
Yeah,
Like the
'cause-
ugly word that they would call us. You know, they would say that they would use those words and say, oh, that's that kind of a thing. That it was never, ever
'cause I
celebrated.
know
looked
they
fun.
celebrated it. What was it, yesterday or the day before?
The last 2
downtown?
days.
Yeah.
Oh, that was on Friday night, I think.
But had they always been doing that? Or
No, they've just done it the last 2 years.
Yeah, see,
No,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Now it's commercialized, right?
Yeah.
Anything they can make money
I
off
don't,
of
yeah,
now.
I don't like that.
But it is definitely a culturalized tradition that they have. So, yeah, so there's that.
And you got through it with no tears. Well, a little
I
bit.
had a little bit of tears. I will say this, like when my grandma passes,
Oh, I know you're
I'm gonna be.
devastated.
I think I joke about it, like as a sign of like defensive mechanism,
Right,
you know. Because even once I put it all together this morning, I was like, "Lady, I was joking. Don't go anywhere." And she's like, "Nah, you told me to go. I'm gone."
I'm like, wait, I'm out. You already said it.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, she's here. Jackie said it best. Jackie said she ain't gonna be on that ofrenda for years to come. Like I don't.
Yeah.
She's so feisty. I don't think she'll. Mm-mm. I mean, when I tell you she was fighting me, she was kicking me.
I know. I always look forward to your stories when you tell when you're doing something with her. She's always talking crap or hitting you, smacking you.
My famous thing is, oh, we didn't meet Jesus yet. Everyone's like, Alina. And I was like, well, it's going to happen.
Like you and Seth, both you guys freaking joke about that. Like
Well,
you
'cause
have
you
that
know
dark humor when it comes to her.
Because her husband, from the day I can remember, taught us that death happens. You're going to die. Like he embedded, don't be afraid of death. Like, and so for us, I don't want to leave because I don't want to leave my kids that are still very young. And I pray like, Lord, give me another 15, 20 years. However, death comes whether you want it to or not. And I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid of it. I'm not in a rush to go anywhere, you know. So we do. And for me, she's 92. Like,
Let her live another 7, 8 years.
doing what? Cussing me out?
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
That century mark.
All right. Well, we are done with our current news reports for the day.
That was fun.
It was.
Yeah, it was good.
Go Dodgers.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Solomon.
No problem. The Dodgers already went though.
I know they did. But the one thing I want to say
Awesome.
is we were not laughing because I feel really bad that a squirrel and a raccoon.
I was. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel
let's
bad.
be real. We're not the only ones laughing.
No,
at the
but,
notion
like-
of it. We're not
Yeah.
laughing at their pain.
I'm still wondering and waiting for a bigger story to come out of this. Like it was something else. And if it does come out, we're going to talk about
Well, it's
it.
gonna hit TMZ. I'll tell you that.
That
I
was
know.
TMZ.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
gonna hit TMZ.
So for that to hit TMZ, yeah. We have all socials, Instagram, TikTok. I have Facebook, but I don't really go on it too much.
You know what? I don't use Facebook anymore, really, unless it's for work or posting my memories. That's it.
I don't really do it too much. I think it's
That's
because
it.
it's already a lot for me to do everything. That's like the least that I go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please subscribe. I would appreciate it very, very much.
There's
Thank
a
you.
subscribe thing. Before you say goodbye, I'd be
like I see
curious
my
to see if people would want to see a live show.
Oh.
Mm.
So with the live show,
I would be up for it.
can people call in?
Yes.
So what if somebody calls in and says, "Yo, mama," like we have
I got a button that says drop call.
Oh,
So I screen all the calls.
okay.
So yeah, so it would be cool. So
Well, that would
give
be
your
one
number.
for the making. Maybe it's something to ask all the
Yeah,
like,
just if
all of
people would
us.
like to hang out for a live show, and then of course you can read the comments on YouTube as they go by as well. And so people have a
Say,
couple
like,
ways to
one,
interact
like,
with the
like
show.
me, you.
You gotta
They
have
gotta bring
Tom.
Tom.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom. We would have to filter Tom's responses.
Stephanie.
that
maybe.
would, yeah. I'm still like I've called her and reached out to her. She has a lot on her plate. My heart goes out to her. I love her.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we could
Love you, Steph.
we could do 5 people: Tom, Trina, and Gina.
Ah.
Yeah.
Gina has to update us on her love life when she gets back.
She has a love life.
Apparently everybody does but me. But anyway, so
Because you're just waiting for Pablo to come out of nowhere.
you know what? I'm stuck between Max Muncy and Banda, and there's such a huge, vast
Yeah,
difference.
literally
I'm like,
weight wise too.
they are like they totally are. I'm like, oh, I don't know now. So, anyways, all right. Well, thank you so much, and until next time, bye.
Later.